Russellville, Arkansas, a quiet night turned sinister. Nona Dirksmeyer, well-liked by all, faced a terrible fate in her own home. As we explore the darkness of her story, we find a sad tale full of mysteries. Nona Dirksmeyer's story is a surprising one that might make us question who the killer was. To this day, it is still unknown. The town buzzed with questions. What happened? Who could do such a thing? The mystery hung heavy in the air. Let's get deeper into the story.
Good evening, I'm Nona Dirksmeyer, Miss Pettigene Valley.
Contestant number 30, Miss Pettigene Valley, Nona Dirksmeyer. Nona is the daughter of Carol and Dwayne Dipert. She is a sophomore music education major at Arkansas Tech University. Nona wants others to break the cycle of child abuse through prevention and awareness.
Growing up in Russellville, Arkansas, Nona Dirksmeyer was a smart student with big dreams. After finishing high school, she moved into her apartment and started studying at Arkansas Tech University. At just 19 years old, she lived on her own and was dating her high school sweetheart, Kevin Jones. Nona also loved taking part in beauty pageants and even competed for Miss Arkansas. Despite her popularity, she stayed friendly and cheerful, always ready to help others and make new friends. So, everything seemed normal, and nobody knew that something terrible was about to happen to the Dirksmeyers. Even though Kevin had left Russellville for school elsewhere, he and Nona kept their relationship alive through calls and texts. Interestingly, Kevin was known for taking forever to reply to texts, which annoyed Nona. But on December 15th, 2005, Kevin realized something shocking. None of his texts had been answered. Little did Kevin know something bad was about to happen, something that would break his happy life completely. Kevin called a friend, Ryan, to check on Nona right away. He saw the lights on in her apartment, but she didn't answer the door. So, Kevin and his mom, Janine Jones, rushed to Nona's place. What they found was terrifying. Nona was lying in a pool of blood on the kitchen floor, with a lamp nearby. Even though it was obvious she was dead, Kevin tried to help her, throwing the lamp away in panic. Meanwhile, his mom dialed 911, and police rushed to the scene. Shockingly, they confirmed Nona's death. The initial checkup revealed multiple stab wounds around her neck, and an autopsy later revealed she had been stabbed in the neck and chest before being brutally beaten with the lampstand. But what stunned the police was the lack of forced entry, hinting that Nona may have known her attacker. Even though there was a lot of evidence at the crime scene, like bloodstains and a used condom wrapper, the police found something shocking. Kevin's bloody handprint on the lampstand made him the main suspect right away. They took him to the police station for questioning.
That's when I sent a text message to Ryan when I was leaving the house. I asked him to go over there, and then he called me when I was in Russellville, and he said that she wasn't answering her door or anything, so I took a turn off of Main Street and by whatever the First National Bank is, whatever that road is, and we headed out that way, and we turned and went to her apartment, and she wasn't answering her door.
Who's we?
Me and my mom. And Ryan was already there standing at her door waiting. He tried to...
He's the pizza guy, right?
Yeah. He tried to open the door up, and it wouldn't... I mean, he tried just to open it, and it was locked, so he dinged the doorbell a few times, and it didn't work.
What's Ryan's last name?
Whiteside.
Whiteside.
He was there whenever they came.
Okay.
And then I found her there, so I opened the door. The sliding door on the back, she always kept it locked with a stick in it. Or maybe he didn't even have a lock, and she just always kept a stick in it, I can't remember. But she always kept something in there where nobody could get in. And then I saw her laying there, and I got on top of her and started praying. And then they called 911.
How did you get in the house?
It was unlocked. That back sliding door, I don't know if it kind of had a little bit of... At first I pulled it, it didn't move, and I yanked it, and it opened up.
Okay.
And I just, yeah.
Tell me what you saw when you first entered.
I saw her laying there with blood all underneath her head. Just laying there with her arms like this. And she had a card from her mom right next to it that her mom had given her.
When did you last spoke with her?
About 1 o'clock last night, I called her house from my house phone.
What did you guys talk about?
She was half asleep, and I was supposed to call her when I got home about 12:45, maybe it was like 1:30, it was late. I talked to my mom about some stuff, and then I said, I called Nona. So I called her, and she said, all right, I'm going to sleep. I called Mom, and I told her I loved her.
After checking the light bulb in the victim's lamp, the police found Kevin's fingerprint mixed with Nona's blood. This meant Kevin touched it during or after the murder. It was the only evidence they had. Despite searching for months, they couldn't find more evidence against Kevin. Then, in a shocking turn of events on March 31st, 2006, authorities decided to move forward with what they had and arrested and charged Kevin Jones with the first-degree murder of Nona Dirksmeyer. During Kevin's trial, the prosecution argued he was the killer because they found his handprint on the lampstand. However, the defense said Kevin left the handprint while trying to help Nona. They also said the investigators didn't follow up on other leads, like condom wrapper found in the apartment. Jones was accused of killing Nona in her Russellville apartment on December 15, 2005. The trial, which was supposed to start in January, got delayed. Later, Jones's lawyers argued that the trial couldn't be fair because of too much news about it, including things said by Nona's family and discussions online. They moved the trial from Pope County to Franklin County because of this. During the trial on July 9th, prosecutors shocked everyone by claiming Jones killed Nona because he found out she was seeing someone else. They also said Jones made it look like Nona was sexually assaulted and killed. Medical experts testified that the victim died between 10:30 a.m. and 1 p.m., coinciding with a period when Kevin's phone was turned off. Despite Kevin's alibi and witness testimonies, doubts lingered. The trial lasted for more than a year, and some surprising things came out. Fingerprints found on important evidence didn't match Kevin's. They also found male DNA on an empty contraceptive package, but it wasn't Kevin's. So, in July 2007, the jury took 8 hours to decide that Jones was not guilty of first-degree murder. Despite his eviction, the legal team promised Nona's family to continue the case and find the real killer soon. So the question is, if Kevin was not the killer, then who killed Nona? In a shocking turn, the lawyers compared DNA from the contraceptive packaging to samples from all the men who knew Nona. Despite everyone willingly providing their samples, none of them matched. This went on for 2 months until something unexpected occurred. In September 2007, the police arrested a man named Gary Dunn for robbery. It got even more interesting because Dunn had already been convicted of attacking another woman. Plus, he lived in the same place as the victim. Amidst all this, the boy's lawyers demanded a DNA test, and what followed was a jaw-dropping breakthrough. The DNA from the contraceptive packaging was a match with Gary's DNA. Even more shocking, they found out Gary had a past conviction for assaulting a woman in 2002. With all this evidence, they didn't waste any time charging Gary Dunn with Nona Dirksmeyer's murder.
A trial is set to begin for a man accused of the 2005 death of an Arkansas beauty queen, Nona Dirksmeyer. 30-year-old Gary Dunn is accused of the crime. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Right inside the courthouse, jury selection is underway and the trial could begin shortly. It was in 2005 when Dirksmeyer's boyfriend, Kevin Jones, found her dead inside her Russellville apartment. Jones was originally tried for her murder but found not guilty 2 years later. DNA evidence led investigators to Dunn, whose trial begins today.
In April 2010, Gary's trial started, and there were many surprising things to hear. His own wife said Gary was dangerous and violent. She was scared of him because he had hurt her many times. But the most shocking part was when she saw Gary spying on Nona through her apartment window a few weeks before Nona died. This made the lawyers think Gary planned to hurt her. Given Gary's criminal background and his wife's testimony, the court shockingly convicted him of Nona's murder, unleashing a wave of astonishment. Despite an extensive investigation, Gary's fingerprints shockingly didn't match those found on the lampstand. With no other compelling evidence, the jury reluctantly declared him not guilty. Despite being convicted of other crimes, like kidnapping, it appears Gary wasn't Nona's killer. Nearly a decade later, the police were still unable to unravel the haunting mystery of 19-year-old Nona Dirksmeyer's murder.
Sitting behind me in the Polk County Detention Center at this hour, he does have a history. He was convicted of battery back in 2002 for attacking a Russellville woman on a running trail. We were able to speak with her today about this latest arrest.
Me over the head with it, knocked me off the trail, sat on top of me, beat me and beat me and beat me.
She doesn't want to show her face or use her name. She was able to escape that day. According to court documents, he was ordered to prison in 2003.
He got out early. He didn't serve his full sentence.
Years later, she was a character witness in the Nona Dirksmeyer case, in which Dunn was accused of murdering the 19-year-old. He was tried twice, but never convicted. Russellville Police Captain David Ewing says Tuesday evening, Dunn tried to kidnap a woman at the First Baptist Church parking lot, as well as spoke to a female student at Arkansas Tech's campus.
Both victims were shooken up. We're just glad they're both okay.
10 years after, Dunn got out of prison on Tuesday, December 4th, 2018. Gary committed 2 crimes in one day: attempted kidnapping and indecent exposure. After his arrest, given his criminal history and suspected involvement in Nona's case, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison for these incidents. Shockingly, Nona's murder remains a mystery, unsolved and hauntingly unresolved. Nona's murder remains a shock, leaving the community unsettled. Despite time passing, the truth remains unknown, leaving many feeling scared and uncertain. We wait anxiously for justice to prevail, hoping for closure and peace. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. What are your views on Nona Dirksmeyer's case? Do you think the police led the investigation with all due diligence to catch the real killer? Or do you think some important traces might have been neglected?